here. There we are. That's our loot for a whole day's worth of work. So today we're going to make olive oil. We're going to continue our adventure that we started on last year, and we're going to have another go. Last year we managed to produce this, which is what, about a litre's worth of olive oil. We collected 250 kilos worth of olives. Well, we had a lot of problems. The press broke 3 times and I had to keep getting it fixed. I had to try and find metalsmiths to fix it on a holiday. By the time, the 3rd time that I got it fixed, the olive oil season was finished. The 250 kilos of olives that I picked were starting to get old, because ideally you want to press your olives as soon as you pick them. So we had to find a mill somewhere outside of Cordoba that pressed the olives for us, and we got about 20 or 30 litres worth of oil last year from our picking adventure. So today we're going to give it another go, and well, we've got some olives. They're not great olives. A friend of ours picked them for us about 2 weeks ago. They should be pressed straight away, but we're going to give it a go today. It's going to be a little test run to see if our press can handle that 20 tons of pressure. We're going to keep this video conversational. There's not going to be a rush on it, and I thought we can talk a little bit about what I learnt from last year, from our olive picking endeavour, and what we could do better, what type of oil we're going to try and make from these old olives that are losing the properties that you want if you're going to make high quality olive oil. So first, what we're going to do is we've got to sort out these olives. There's a few olives that they're going bad. We need to pick through them, get rid of them. Anything that's going mouldy, getting any black spots on them, we need to go through them all and make sure that we've only got the best ones. And you can see they're starting to get old, these olives. They start oxidizing, you see, and you start losing that qualities you want for good quality olive oil. But we'll get some oil out of this, and it'll be a nice test run for the setup. See, they're just getting old now. You know, you don't want that in your olive oil. Anything with spots on like this, all rubbish. It's a shame. They should have been pressed as soon as they were picked. See, we're getting rid of any that have started going bad. We don't want that in our oil. These olives, look at that, they're done for. Unredeemable. So anything that started going mouldy, you see, that's one of the benefits of picking and pressing in the same day. You're not going to have to waste time sorting through the olives. The longer you leave them olives, the less antioxidants they're going to have, the less those prized qualities they're going to have. But it's what it is at the end of the day. It don't matter if we're going to be frying our chips in there, does it? Or a couple of fried eggs. It'll serve a purpose. But this is going to be a nice test run opportunity to test mainly if our press can handle that 20 tons of pressure. Once you've gave your olives a good sorting and got rid of the nasty ones, make sure to give your olives a nice wash. So this is our mill that we picked up last year. It's a wet and dry mill, and we've obviously got the part fitted with a stone, which is used for obviously milling olives and peanuts and almonds if you're wanting like almond butter or peanut butter. Not tried it with that yet. That will be fun though in the future. So we're going to get this set up. Lock it in place. I'm going to start milling. You can adjust it here, look, how fine you want it to go. I got it on the setting I found last year, so we'll not be needing to adjust that. Let's start milling. For the power of that, eh? You don't want to be getting your finger stuck in there. Use a bit of wood to poke it in. Taper it off so that it's not obviously reaching the mechanism. But that's our first lot of jollop that we're going to process now. We've still got all them olives to do, but at least we've got enough now to get started. As the press is pressing the oil out of this stuff, we can then continue processing more olives. So let's go and heat this up a little bit so that we can get as much oil out of this as possible. So we're going to add some warm water. It's about 40 degrees, so we don't want to get too hot. We're going to add that to dilute our mix just a little bit, and that's going to help us to, when we come to pressing it, it's going to help us to press out more oil. Give that a good mix up. So we're giving this a really good stir, and ideally, if you could stir this for an hour or two, it would be even better. But I ain't gonna sit here stirring this for 2 hours. I'm gonna get him to do it. No, I'm joking. Ideally, what I'd like is a drum that's got like a couple of spatulas at the bottom, and you can just set it to slowly stir for a couple of hours, and the more you stir it, the more that's going to help you to extract that oil. And if you are going to heat it up, some of them have little thermostats in there with a heating element there. You can keep it at like 40 degrees. But in general, I'm going to be wanting to really cold press my olives, so I'm not too worried about that. But it would be nice to have maybe a container that could do 50 or maybe 100 litres that I could, with a motor on the top, that could just do what I'm doing right now. I could just go and like have a nap or something while it gets the job done. What this is going to do is it's going to help to unbond the oil from the flesh of the olive, so that when we press, that oil comes gushing out. So we're ready to start putting our mash, jollop, sludge, whatever you call this stuff, onto our pressing mats. And well, these are our pressing mats that I had made by an artisan. That's what he does. He makes pressing mats for olive oil, and they're made out of a natural product. I didn't want the plastic ones. I don't like plastic in general. I know this is in plastic, funny enough, but in general I prefer to have as less plastic around my food as possible. And so I went for the natural fibre, and you know the funny thing is, this smells a little bit like this. You know, I was telling you about the funny smelling olive oil that came out last year? Well, the reason that happened is, well, when you have new mats made, you need to press them with just water or soak them first. Press them and get rid of the tannins, get rid of the smell. Otherwise your olive oil takes on a peculiar smell, and they call it the mat smell. That's what we did wrong last year. Anyway, I did soak these, gave them a really good soaking, and then I pressed all the water out. So hopefully this year our olive oil doesn't take on the foul smell of these mats, because it ain't a nice smell. It don't smell good. So we've got our mats. We've got a piece of cotton, which is a nice little hack, and we're going to place our cotton over the top of our mat. What this is going to do is when we press our olives, our jollop is going to be sandwiched in between these two bits, and it's going to really save our mats. Sometimes you see mats and they're just full of hard pressed olive mush, and it's really hard to clean them. This is going to help our mats have a long life and last a lot longer. So, and we've got a little dosage ring, which is about 1 centimetre, and we're going to place that on top. And we're going to take our jollop, our mash, we're going to place it on top, like that. Let's get the next one going. So we'll take that off. And we cover that. And that's ready. Now we'll take that to the press. That's it. On the press. Stick a sheet in it. Making a little olive goop sandwich. Like that. That's another one for the press. So we're ready to start pressing. Ideally, I would like to fill my press up with, I've got 14 of these mats, and then just press all 14. The problem is I've lost a lot of space since the repairing of the press. It's a monstrosity. It only looks half decent now because I gave it a nice good paint and gave it a good bit of tender loving care the other day. It's looking nice, but it is a beast. And the problem is, he did a big mess. Look where he's put these beams. I wanted him to put them up here, maximise my space for the pressing, but it's not great. But let's hope that it can handle the 20 tons. So the game is going to be is I'm going to press these down a bit, then I can maybe shimmy some more mats in there, and once these have compressed a little bit. So we're going to start pressing these. Oh, I'm going to put 2 more mats in there. Nine mats. I prefer 14, but I've actually squeezed in a lot more mats than I was thinking. Oh man, I think I've filled them up too much, haven't I? So you can see, just with the weight of this metal plate at the top and the weight of the mats that are full, we're already starting to get the juice to come out. We ain't going to get much oil at this stage. Normally the oil starts coming out at the latter part of the press when you're really getting that pressure. And if you've noticed, I've got a radiator at the back because we want to do this in a warm temperature, I say like 25 degrees. Because if you do this when it's cold, which I made that mistake last year, I tried doing it outside, the oil sticks, it doesn't flow because it's cold. If you've ever seen like olive oil, good olive oil, when it's really cold, it can thicken up a little bit and it isn't going to be so fluid. So I've got the radiator on the back because without the radiator it's about 17 degrees in here, and that's warmed up the press a bit, just keeping it a little bit warmer so that oil will flow. If the guy would have put the bars where I wanted them, instead of being lazy, I'd have probably got all 14 mats in. So the key now, when we're pressing, we don't want to go in too quick. Slowly catch the monkey. Those 42 monkeys that are loose at the moment in America. That's how you catch them. 42 monkeys have escaped in America, lab monkeys. It just sounds like something from a doomsday movie, you know what I mean? You can just see, just with the weight of our 20-ton jack, which weighs quite a bit, and the metal plate and the weight of the mats, we're already getting a lot of juice coming out. If we had to just crank this up really quick now, all that mush is just gonna come straight out the side and it's going to make a really big mess. So we just need to apply pressure little by little, getting the water out there. Once this flour dries up and it's not flowing so crazily, then we just keep adding a bit more pressure. I think we can add a bit more pressure right now though. We're just applying pressure really slowly, because if we go too quick, it's all gonna come out of the sides. Really, we can just leave this now. We could start milling some more olives and getting them prepared. Until this flour dries up, slows down, then we can give it another good cranking. So we're gonna keep adding a little extra pressure. Notice the more pressure I put in, the flow starts increasing. We've just got to be a bit careful that you can see that the danger. And we had a little bit coming out the side because I got a little maybe too generous when I was putting the mash in the mats. If you notice that there's not so much oil at this stage, the oil seems to start coming out when you're more deeper in the press. You can see if you look now, there's some little oil molecules floating around the water, but at this part of the press we ain't going to see that much. So we can see the oil is starting to come out now. There's a bit of oil here, look, it's making its way. Get some more. Increase that flow. Oh, now we can see, look at the drops coming out. Whoa, there it is. There's the precious stuff. You can see all that yellowy green oil coming out. Now we're dancing. I've got to hold off a little now. So we can see how much we've compressed them mats. And we've still got a little way to go, and the press is starting to squeak now, and I'll be honest, I'm nervous. This is where we got to last year before our press busted and we had to get it fixed. But we got a lot more iron on there this year. So, you know, I reckon if we can get it down maybe another centimetre, that should be at the end then. I mean, all the oil's coming out now, you can see. Oof, that's the good stuff. This is oil on the top, full of oil and water. I'll show you a little contraption that I've made, and I've made a separate video, it's just not edited yet. I actually made it last year on how you can make this simple oil separator. I'll show you. So this is our oil separator. We're going to put our extract into here. And what's going to happen is, well, the oil and the water separates, and we can then just drain off the water. We can get some fresh water in there to kind of clean and wash our oil, and then we can just keep drain off this water until it's nice and clean. Whoosh. There we are. I've made some little indicators on the side that have actually got washed off. That's going to give us an idea on how much oil we've managed to extract at the minute. So we're right at the end of the press now. There's only a few little drops coming out. You see the oil there? Just getting the last few drops, and we're separating the oil in the oil separator that I've got outside. It's a bit annoying, this press. I don't take it any more higher. I don't know if we're at the 20 tons of pressure, but it's really struggling and it's cracking, and I don't want to bust this press. Again, I'd prefer just to process more olives rather than trying to squeeze every last drop of oil out of them olives. I think it's better to be on the safe side, and I think we're nearly there. It's a bit annoying because the pressure could be distributed on these mats a lot better. If I had a nice big thick iron plate on the bottom, that would be getting especially the pressure to the outer part of the mats. So what I'm going to do for the next press, I'm going to try and keep my circle a little smaller, make my distribution ring a little smaller so that we're not getting right to the end of the mat, because we're not getting as much oil, we're not getting the pressure really on the outer edge. So I'm going to leave it there. I think I'm just going to leave it to drip out the last remnants, and we're going to start milling some more olives. I'll show you what we've got outside. So we've almost got a litre of oil, which ain't bad. I mean, we got 20 kilos of olives. They say in general you can get around 4 to 5 litres of oil for 20 kilos. We've processed about 6 kilos of olives, and we've almost got a litre. So I reckon we might get 3 litres out of that 20, which ain't terrible, but it ain't fantastic. We'll see at the end of this video. So what we're going to do now, we're going to drain off this water. That's going to wash any debris, any rubbish out of that oil, and hopefully it's going to sink to the bottom. I'm going to drain this off now. I'm going to drain this down as far as possible, and then I'm going to fill it up with water again. Each time that will be helping to just clean up and wash our olive oil from any of the debris and parts of the olive that might be suspended within the oil. It's taking its time, isn't it? Okay, there we are. There's our oil. Let's get this down the drain. Now we're filling this with water again. Now we just let that do its thing, let the oil separate, let the water separate. And I think that should be enough. What we'll do then is we'll get rid of the water and then we'll tap it off into a jar. Meanwhile, we're going to be pressing our next load of olives. I'll spare you all that detail because it's basically what we've already done. But I'll show you how much oil we get at the end. Now it's coming. It comes out like a sausage, look. Let's jar this off. Might need another jar. There we are. There we are. That's our loot for a whole day's worth of work. It's taken a lot longer though, because when you're trying to film stuff, it always takes longer, but man, doesn't that look gorgeous? Look at the colour on this thing. That's last year's, you see, look. It's got a much golder colour last year. This is obviously unfiltered, which you can consume unfiltered. It'll not last as long. You can easily filter this using a nice bung of cotton wool into a funnel or a coffee filter, and that'll help to filter it out and make it a lot clearer, and it'll last a lot longer. Not too bad. Not brilliant, but not too bad either. What we got there, about 2.5 litres of oil, where on average you should be able to get 5 litres from 20 kilos on a good year, depending on the olives, like I said at the outstart, and also depending on how quick you get to pressing them. But this was a bit of a test run for the press. The press didn't blow up. I thought it might do it sometimes, but it's handled it fine. It hasn't bent, and I think I got the max out of the jack. I don't know if the jack is actually reaching 20 tons. I just have to trust that it is. But I think it's done well. I mean, when we're banging those mats out at the end, well, you can see here, they're dry. You know, we ain't getting any more juice out of that thing. You know, this is dry. Apart from the ends, they were a little bit more wet. So I think we have got the maximum that we could probably get out of them olives that were over a week old, nearly 2 weeks old. So we've not done too bad. I'll be honest, it ain't got a lot of smell. Not a lot of smell and not a lot of taste. The colour's amazing. The colour is really nice, but there's not a lot of taste. I had a little, let's go on then. Very little taste. But we ain't going to be using this to drizzle our salads with, you know, and get all fancy when his mates come around. This is going to be for frying an egg in, frying some chips in, even though I prefer to use animal fat to fry my chips in. Or my wife might want to make some face creams with this. But in general, I think I might even use it to make mayonnaise, because I don't eat that rubbish mayonnaise from the supermarket full of seed oils. I prefer to make my own mayonnaise with olive oil, and the best olive oil to use for making your mayonnaise is one that ain't got much stink to it or much taste. So this could be pretty ideal for making a nice mayonnaise that ain't dominated by that olive oil aroma and taste. The next olives we do, we'll be able to hopefully get a really nice aromatic olive oil that we can drizzle on as salads when as guests arrive, and say that we made it ourselves, you know, for those extra brownie points. So anyway, if you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Let me know what you think in the comments, how yours maybe came out if you're giving it a go yourself. If you want to support the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss a single upload. Also, got plenty of videos that I'm working on. The Digestatron 3000. We've got our cherry tree as well that we successfully grafted, and I'm yet to put all that footage together. It's been a little bit of a pain in the neck. And well, hopefully we're going to be getting some more olives as well, and we'll try and cold press them and make a nice quality olive oil. If you want to watch this little video that's just popped up now that YouTube's recommending for you, then make sure you give it a little watch. Until next time, guys, I'll see you there later.